My name is Marissa Yingling, and I'm a social worker and assistant professor at the University of Louisville in the United States. The title of my presentation is The Cosmos and Social Work in the Age of NewSpace, Proposal for Conceptualizing an Ecosocial Universe. Before beginning, I want to offer a disclaimer that this presentation is not intended to be an exhaustive, detailed account of the subject I introduce. It will be brief and lack the nuance required for a comprehensive overview of this topic. This brevity is by no means a reflection of its importance. Instead, the aim is to distill a more complex and detailed argument into a simple proposal for the social work profession to consider while respecting viewers' time. To date, social work's efforts to achieve environmental and ecological justice have focused on one planet. That Earth is central to the field is logical. Social workers focus on humans. Except for a few astronauts, nearly 8 billion gravity-bound humans have not experienced life from the privileged vantage point of stars. To those of us grounded, presumably unlike the perspective from space, humanity's terrestrial station is visible, measurable, recognizable. Though the wedge modernity inserts between humans and the non-human environment is considerable, humans desire and seek Earth nature, not space nature. Yet our planet is one of 8 in our solar system, our sun is one star of billions in our galaxy, and there are hundreds of billions of galaxies in the universe. Albeit remarkable and vital to human existence, our pale blue dot is truly a lonely speck in a great enveloping cosmic dark. Ongoing developments in the public and private sectors suggest that humans are on the verge of unprecedented exploration of this cosmic dark. If, as some propose, space exploration is an irrepressible natural progression of life, enabled by the amalgamation of Earth's elements into technologies by the species currently recognized as its most intelligent, or humans, if space exploration is as inevitable as it appears to be, then evaluating its significance to social work is a responsible act, if not an obligatory one. I propose one simple question in this presentation. Does contemporary human activity in space matter to social work? In pursuit of an answer, I'm going to efficiently summarize some of the key interstellar human activities in the NewSpace era, including commercialization and exploitation of space resources in the context of the Outer Space Treaty and Moon Agreement, human-generated cosmic trash, and terrestrial challenges related to the space industry. The Cold War airspace race that culminated in the 1969 moon landing is now called Old Space. A new generation spearheaded by billionaires marketing efforts as humanitarian are characterizing New Space. This era's significance to environmental social work is apparent in questions these activities raise. Although there are many others, some of the questions are, is the commercialization of space ethical, moral, or desirable? Do private companies have the right to exploit space? What regulations exist, and are they adequate? Some suggest that space commercialization will yield the inaugural trillion-dollar industry, as new space billionaires lay the groundwork for entrepreneurs to mine exorbitant resources from celestial bodies with the assistance of companies such as Rolls-Royce. Asteroids and the moon are prime targets. The value of mining one asteroid is estimated at $200 billion US. Rare on Earth, an approximated 1 million tons of a promising fuel source for nuclear fusion, or helium-3, sits on the lunar surface. A mere 44 of those 1 million tons would satisfy the energy needs of the US for 1 year. As companies are champing at the bit to extract rare earth minerals and other resources, the significance of these questions has never been higher. After nations launched the first rockets in anticipation of such objectives, they addressed them in the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. Under this treaty, any use of space must benefit the interests of all countries and shall be the province of all mankind. All major spacefaring nations have signed this agreement. Still, when it was written, the technological capacity for extracting space resources was non-existent. More than a half-century later, technology is far superior, and capitalists are closer than ever to realizing their goals of more affordable space travel and paving the road to space, so they say, for future generations to colonize. To expand upon the treaty, the Moon Agreement, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1979, pertains to other celestial bodies within the solar system other than the Earth. Its language is broader, mandating that on the moon, states parties shall take measures to prevent the disruption of the existing balance of its environment, whether by introducing adverse changes in that environment, by its harmful contamination through the introduction of extra environmental matter, or otherwise. In essence, though the Moon Agreement is more environmentally and ecologically just, it stifles capitalism. To date, only 18 countries have ratified it, not including those with the largest spacefaring programs. It is in this ambiguous and underregulated context that the U.S., with the goal of leading the world in space exploration by returning Americans to the moon by 2024, and allowing U.S. commercial companies and international partners to further contribute to the exploration and development of the moon, introduced the Artemis program. Corresponding guidelines, the Artemis Accords, are filling the regulatory vacuum. Signed by 13 countries, the Accords bypass the United Nations and affirm that on the moon, quote, extraction and utilization can and will be conducted under the auspices of the Outer Space Treaty. I'm not a legal expert, but essentially it seems as if the United States is now self-appointed legislator and lawyer of the moon. If we use More's Capitalocene, a counter-argument to the Anthropocene wherein capitalists rather than all humanity are responsible for the cheapening of nature, for capital accumulation and resulting environmental devastation we see here on Earth, as technology advances to permit easier, more frequent access to unexplored cosmic corners, it is difficult to suppose that the actions of capitalists in space will differ. If that is indeed the case, to borrow More's nomenclature, I suggest that space nature will become cheap space nature. Also of concern is the value of extraterrestrial life. Detection of presently undiscovered life is pertinent to social work. The question of how to treat microbial or sentient life is one that involves ecological justice. The question of how to treat intelligent life is one that involves environmental justice. In the present context of developments related to unidentified aerial phenomena, including recent public congressional hearings in the United States, the question of how social work would address the discovery of advanced intelligent life, while beyond the scope of this paper, is an open and crucial one. Anthropologists, sociologists, and others have engaged in thoughtful and productive dialogue about what the impact of the discovery of life forms beyond Earth may be. I propose that now is the time for social work to join this dialogue. But on this topic, I digress. When NASA welcomes the public to witness exciting launches of rockets and satellites, observers' thoughts are likely far from the waste generated by these energizing events. Yet human-made trash is ubiquitous. On Earth, the U.S. alone produces more than 146 million tons of municipal solid waste annually. The world generates more than 2 billion tons each year and is expected to surpass 3.4 billion tons by 2050. Of the waste generated, 37% is cast off to a landfill, while 33% is openly dumped. Will humanity replicate its disastrous track record of waste generation and disposal in space? Since the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1 in 1958, human trash exited the ecosphere and became patently cosmological. Now, at the impressive velocity of 17,500 miles per hour, millions of pieces of artificial debris orbit Earth. Human-generated space debris includes non-functional spacecraft, abandoned launch vehicle stages, mission-related debris, and fragmentation debris. In essence, Earth hosts an international orbital landfill. The commercialization and exploitation of space depend upon the natural resource extraction of Earth and ensuing pollution. At liftoff, a single rocket launch consumes 11,000 pounds of fuel per second and emits up to 300 tons of carbon dioxide into the upper atmosphere, where it can stay for years and have a warming impact. In the last decade, private companies have doubled the number of launches. Billionaire investors and space tourism will drive them higher. In an underregulated environment, stratospheric ozone depletion is worrying scientists. Also concerning are the detrimental effects of space travel on local ecology, soil quality and vegetation, land and marine life well-being and fatalities, and public health. After threats of eminent domain and frustrated by the disruption SpaceX brought to their community, some locals of Boca Chica, Texas sold their houses and moved. But not all residents can or want to move. Boca Chica is home to shorebirds, ocelots, sea turtles, and other wildlife that could suffer physical harm, including brain damage, hearing loss, and exposure to chemical-laced vapor clouds. In NASA's home country, environmental social work entails a commitment to being engaged in addressing the problem of unregulated economic growth and development. Today, human activity in space, where it appears that capitalists are gaining the edge, are indivisible to this commitment. Once capitalism sinks its teeth into space markets, based on the last 500 years of the historical record, preventing its stewards from chasing annual 3% growth, widening profit margins, and prioritizing shareholders and executives will prove exceptionally difficult. Just in time for economic growth to appear strangled by Earth's margins, seemingly infinite possibilities abound in an unrealized and largely unregulated space future. Space is the new frontier, the new Wild West, East, North, and South. In the new space era in which entrepreneurs have set their sights on space resources, the seeds of environmental and ecological injustices are sprouting. Nearly a quarter century ago, ecological consequences of human activity prompted social work to incorporate the natural environment into practice. But why only Earth's familiar ecosphere? Why stop there? Why not the cosmos? Details are many, complex, and evolving, yet the take-home point for social work is simple. We must look to the stars and beyond. Practically speaking, what does this mean? In preparation for the achievement of modern extraterrestrial objectives, I propose that social work expand its conceptualization of environment from ecosphere to cosmos, and that the global values of an ecosocial world must include the cosmos, which is all physical existence, known and unknown, on Earth and in our solar system, galaxy, and universe. And as we venture into the cosmos, we must realize the values we take with us are yet anthropogenic, anthropocentric, and framed from earthbound contexts. Again, there is much more to this topic than this presentation permits, and I look forward to exploring it further in a different format. For now, I appreciate your attention and consideration. Thank you.